Hello, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How is everybody doing today? I'm sitting in the shade. That's why you probably can't see me all that well, but the sun's beating down pretty hard, but I still got a lot of work to do. But anyway, the live stream this morning is going to be on all these illegals that are doing more criminal acts all the time with these ICE shouldn't be dealing with this crap, okay? And I want to say something about that. How they could change their tactics a little bit and maybe not have to deal with this shit no more, okay? That's number one. And then number two, we're going to talk about the whole Epstein list shit again, okay? Because obviously with all the kickback that's happening and stuff, it must exist. But yeah, darkness is setting in on this country. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I tell you what, why watch the news when you got to see this stuff? Just might as well wake up in the morning, don't even turn the stuff on, and just go ahead and go to work right away. Make sure I do my part. Make sure we can have enough money so Ukraine can keep fighting this war and stuff. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a rant this morning. So, but I tell you what, it's time Americans start getting upset about what's going on. Okay, maybe if we start putting the fear of God into our government again, and to all these criminals in this country that are here illegally, maybe we can change things around. Anyway, it's going to be a beautiful day today. I can't wait to get busy here in the Grove. We got some rain last night, so I should be able to do my live stream out in the Grove tonight. Yeah, I want doing one this morning. I think I'm going to do one tonight, but tonight one will be more about what I see off in the western sky. So that's what that's going to be about. But anyway, it's been a couple minutes. Let's get into the subject, okay? You know, like I say, darkness is setting in on this country. First, okay, how many of y'all are tired of seeing this video of ICE agents, ICE vehicles, and all this stuff being pelted with blessings to you, brother. God bless you. Yeah. We're all going to need the power of God to fix this. But, be his proper soldiers. But anyway, how many of you tired of seeing that? Every single time they throw a rock at one of these vehicles, how much do you think it costs to replace a windshield or a mirror on one of these vehicles? Probably 10 times what it would cost to get put on your vehicle, okay? And these people just are allowed to do it nonstop. Well, I tell you what, ICE, you want this to stop? You don't even have to shoot at it. All you got to do is change your tactics. You know, maybe they need some Marine Corps NCOs in here so they can sit there and figure out how to get this done right. Okay, this is what you do, ICE, all right? You send your small force in first to the plant or whatever, okay? And you start doing your business. And you got all your protesters that get up on the outside, right? And then you bring your main force in. And you surround those idiots. So now you got the people that are protesting surrounded and the people inside the plant or whatever that can't get out. All right? Now you got them all surrounded. Then you sit there and let them out one by one. And they all got to wear a mask, okay? See, I'm on YouTube so you can see me telling you how I feel about this shit. All these suckers, sons of bitches that got to hide behind a mask. But then you let them out of this where you got them surrounded one by one. And if they're an illegal, they get kicked back out of the country immediately. If they're an American citizen, they get arrested. Just like the J6 protesters were. Remember that? What would happen if the J6 protesters would have been thrown? They didn't even do nothing. What would you, if you were protesting something? Let's say the cops came to arrest your neighbor or your friend, right? That didn't do nothing wrong. Just an American patriot, right? And all of a sudden the cops start taking off and you start throwing rocks and shit at their car. What's going to happen to you? Oh, you'll be in that cop car. What do you see? ICE speeding away, running away from them. See, these people have never been held accountable for breaking the law coming to this country in the first goddamn place. And now they just keep breaking more laws. They're never going to be held accountable. Like I say, bring your small force in. Let them sit there. All the protesters show up. Then you surround those protesters with your big force. Now, let's see. If you did that one time and made sure all the cameras were there to watch it and just let them say the most disgusting things, how many protesters do you think you'd have outside a facility that ICE was raiding again? Zero. Change your tactics, ICE. Your tactics aren't working. Either that or start shooting the sons of bitches. That'll end it real quick, too. God, I can't believe this. Oh, I'm not even, people, can you see that if we can't get control, there's a reason a country has laws. There's a reason citizens have to follow these laws. And there's obviously a reason why there's a law against coming into this country illegally. We're all accountable for the law. And I know I can't throw bricks and rocks and shit I can't even go up to a cop and start running my mouth. But these people show up in their masks. They don't have to worry about it. And once a cop turns around and looks at them, they all go running. They're a bunch of freaking cowards. All you got to do is harness them, bridle them, get control of them, surround them. If I threw a rock at, I would be arrested and went, yeah, because you're an American citizen, see? You notice that we're getting different class now in America. And I'm going to get into the second class. We got a class now of illegals where you're not allowed to, the worst no matter what they do in this country, seems like the worst punishment they get is they get shipped back home. Really? I tell you what, they want to blow up about alligator Alcatraz. I think we need some real concentration camps in the desert. And the thing is, if you want to stay out of them, don't come to this country illegally. And if you are in this country illegally, leave or go up to your closest cop and say, I'm here illegally. Can you please help me get me home? And they'll get them home. Probably on a red carpet. But you want to sit there and fight it? Anyway, I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing these videos of these illegals and whatever citizens wearing their masks, all covered up. Can't see who I am. I'm so strong for what I believe in, I won't even show my face. And especially if you went to another country and did what, yeah. When we were in the service, and it happened a few times when guys on ship would go out around the town and get in trouble. And they stayed in that country. They didn't leave with the ship. They stayed in that country until their legal problems were solved there. And if they went to jail or whatever. And then when they came back to the States, then they got in trouble for being unauthorized absence in the military and desertion. Enter Mexico illegally and see what happens. Yeah, you'll be eating cockroaches. But yeah, you go into the country, Mexico illegally, believe me, okay? And you get caught. And they kick you back after what you go through, and you go back to the United States, you'll never go to Mexico again, especially illegally. That's what happens when you enforce the laws. What's your take? Oh, he needs to be deported. I mean, he lied about his naturalization. He's a communist. And this is the thing. I can see him winning it's not like you got to be an American citizen to win an election, do you? But he is an American citizen. But he's going to run New York into the ground. And then he's going to, the blame. He's just got some weird ideas, okay? He's communist. New York city-owned grocery stores. Tax the rich. This is the thing. If we went to a federal sales tax, everything would be fair. Everything would be fair. The rich would pay more taxes because they spend more. No shit. Why do you think we don't have a no sales tax on federal? 10%. I mean, everybody'd be happy if you went to the store and had to pay 10% in your federal tax on your sales and didn't have to deal with the IRS. Because like I say, if a big company didn't have to deal with the IRS, boy, just think how much money they could save, and they could give the employees a 10% raise right that next day, and that would pay for that 10% federal tax. You see, and you still have more money in your pocket. But see, then that would make you more independent, and they want us all on government titty. So anyway, but these illegals, I'm sick of this shit. Change your tactics. Send the small group into the factory. Do your job. Let the protesters surround, and then bring in your main force. Surround the protesters and do what the legal system requires you to do. Arrest the American citizens for what they're doing, just like the J6ers, and send the illegals back home. And once you do that one time, that tactic one time, ICE will never have to deal with another getting shot at or anything like that again. What part to learn from Poland when the I don't know much of Poland's history, some World War II and stuff. A lot I know about that, but and then during the 80s and stuff. Who was that? Oh boy, this is going back. Wałęsa, was that one's name that got the communist yoke out of Warsaw or Poland? Wałęsa? I don't know what it was. That was Wałęsa. I think CW or something. That's 40 years ago, boy. That's like 40-some years ago, trying to pull that stuff out of the old filing cabinet. But anyway, with the illegals, yeah, Europe. I mean, see, these people are trying to bring their culture here, and the citizens of the countries are hurting. Look at England. England, you're not even allowed to sit there and say something bad against these people or you get arrested. Well, they're sitting there raping your children and shit. Crazy world we live in. The death with illegal immigrants pretty well, though. They dealt with illegal immigrants pretty well. The thing is, call us American citizens into it, okay? We can solve the problem in 1 week, and we won't be dealing with this, okay? And then let ICE back us up. And we'll go in there and do the shit, okay? If they don't want to do the job right, we'll do the job right. We're dealing with nothing but cowards. This is the hardest thing to deal with. You're dealing with cowards. Hide behind masks. Cop turns around and the whole group starts running the other way. Jeepers cripes. How hard would it to sit there and actually enforce the laws? Oh, I'm getting tired of being the class of the person that has to follow every law. Okay? I don't even break the speed limit. I guess that's one thing when you get older, life isn't as exciting anymore, but I don't break any laws. And I got to see all this disgusting shit. But if I did throw a brick at a cop car, I'm sure the law would be enforced to the T. Anyway, now let's get on the second subject. Obviously, the Epstein list must exist, huh? But all I got to say to Kash Patel and that other one, his deputy, Benghazi. Anyway, you're going to quit if Pam Bondi doesn't get fired or quit? Really? Otherwise, you'll stay in? Well, the Epstein list still hasn't been released. How about you demand that the Epstein list be released, and then she gets to sit there and go away in shame? You want to protect American children? Okay. Andrew McCarthy, they built the country. There is difference, and I don't want to a visual ninja. Yeah, well, welcome to today's world. See, this whole revolution the reset from the Patriot side, you might say, is going to be worldwide. When one country finally gets the balls to stand up to these elites, remember the elites are connected all over the world. Okay, that's why all these countries, are free, white-dominated countries, are going through this shit. But all it's going to take is one to create the spark. And it's going to go around the whole world where people like us, we've had enough. That's why they sit there and censor, the first thing like they'd say when Iran would blow up and they'd sit there and shut down the internet so people couldn't talk and stuff. What do you think all this shadow banning censorship on YouTube is? What do you think the first thing our country's going to do? Bam, they ain't going to let me talk on YouTube and spread, hey, we need to organize here and get the word out. They ain't going to allow that to happen. By the way, this Epstein files, okay? Okay, nobody believes you, Trump. And then you sit there at your cabinet meeting and act even more guiltier than shit. No, it's not going to be covered up. Because hundreds of thousands of people have been affected by this. Both victims and the families of the victims. Smash, next question. Okay, taking a pretty heavy dose of, it says you're not an immigrant on your ancestors come from outside North America. See, you guys keep getting with that. Really? Okay, I'm ready to give the country back to the Native American. Are you? Are you willing to give peace to the Native American? I'm big on the Native American. Got fucked over more than any race in this whole goddamn world. No matter where the Native American, South American, or Central American was now, was he? But that's history. What are you going to do? Go back 300 years and change everything? No, if you went back 300 years and lived back then, you'd think like them and did the same damn thing. That's what I think. Talk with fucking morons. Oh my God, the past. If we could change, how about the best way to change the past is not repeat it. But what are we doing? We're repeating the past so in 200 years some moron can get on somebody's live feed and say, well, if 200 years ago, but no Epstein list, huh? The guy just a high school, 7th grade math teacher from nothing. All of a sudden just becomes wealthy beyond belief, okay? Billions of dollars of cash at his residences. But no, we don't know where the money came. Could you imagine if the FBI, let's say, came in and raided you and they found even $10 million in your house and you lived like I did? I would be getting questioned and hit with truth serum until they found out where that money came from. What's Istanbul of as Constable of your logic? You know what? A second. Just a second, everybody. Let me get some things going here. When I got to deal with assholes. I love all these insults. They can sit there and get on these platforms and insult the shit out of people and stuff. And they're the ones that hide behind the mask. That's okay. Come to my door. I'll tear that mask right off your goddamn fucking face. One of these illegals steps in front of my car or one of these morons supporting them, my 3/4 ton Ford, I'm going to run him the fuck over. I don't care. I'm going to step on the gas. If you're dumb enough to get in front of a moving vehicle, you're dumb enough to get ran the fuck over. You're dumb enough to put your hand on a hot stove. You're dumb enough to get fucking burnt. Okay? When we start at least getting people to get them to a fucking 4th grade education, a four-year-old education level, maybe we'll start having some, success. But anyway, this Epstein stuff, Trump, I wonder if the Republicans are going to win next election. I don't think we're going to win in the next midterms. because you're just pissing everybody off. You ain't doing nothing. What you say, oh, you're getting rid of the illegals. Well, some people think you're trying to create a police state. I'd say that was already created back in the 1990s when Bill Clinton put 100,000 more cops on the street. That's probably when that was created. Boy, I'm glad everybody's finally waking up to we live in a police state. No shit. What do you think they do when they send these, you got to sit there, have a law degree or a 2-year law enforcement degree, and they go to college and they party for 2 years and get told, here's a gun and a badge. Now you make sure to enforce the laws that you don't have to follow. And then they're all a bunch of fucking pricks. But I tell you what, they still don't deserve bricks being thrown at their vehicles by illegals. Anyway. And then with this Epstein list, this is another big thing. Who cares? But don't worry, I have to obey every law. But if you're powerful enough, remember it was too big to fail. So if you're too rich and you had a big business that, the world depended on, obviously nobody else could take your place. So the American taxpayer had to bail you out. Now they're too big to jail. Too big to fail, too big to jail. But you better wear your seatbelt. Crazy time we live in. Hey, this channel will never ask for money or donations or sell anything, but if you want to support the channel, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and the bell notification. YouTube's really coming down on me hard. Who's going to tell him they're U.S. citizens? Who's you U.S. citizens? But I'm just sick of the crap. I mean, and then Netanyahu was just at the White House, right? He left right before they came out with this announcement that there was no Epstein list. I wonder if there's any connection with that. Did anybody please talk about the Federal Reserve banks. We need to get rid of them. 1913, when they were created, let's just say passed in a shady way, the dollar has lost 99% of its value, its buying power. Okay? And now, they need to be audited. They need to be imprisoned or hung for treason. They're fucking the American people. You know why we all have to make so much money? Because nothing's worth anything anymore. On my prepping channel, I said, if you got money that you can spare and you can buy something that you may need in the future that will last you years and years, when, let's say, everything ain't the same as it is now, I'd go buy it. As long as somebody's willing to exchange that worthless piece of paper for something that's worth something, go do it. Not something that's going to put you in debt, or not something that's going to fall apart in 6 months. The Guardian, hey, how you doing, The Guardian? Glad to see you. Yeah, I tell you what, after watching the news this morning and watching these sons of bitches be throwing rocks and shit at these ICE vehicles, I'm done with it. You can't even sit there and sit down. And I don't remember Walter Cronkite ever upset me like that. Of course, I was a child, but I did watch him every day. And now the Epstein list, like I say, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, okay, gonna fucking quit if they don't get rid of Pam Bondi. And I'm thinking to myself, is that what they're mad at Pam Bondi? They're not mad because the list wasn't released? They'd say nothing about, we're gonna quit if the list isn't released. Oh, that's right. They can't say that because there is no list, right? You ever seen 3-hour documentary called The Fall of the Citadel? I've never seen that. I'll have to look that up. I watch a lot of documentaries. I know a lot of history. And like I say, I don't want 200 years from now people saying, boy, if they would have done this back then, we can make sure that history has something nice to say about us. We just got some action we need to do before then. God, aren't you sick and tired of having to obey all the laws? I mean, Epstein, they find billions of dollars in his apartment. I didn't see no tax evasion charges being filed. See, the thing is, we all know the truth. They can't cover this up. He was an intelligent asset for the U.S. and Israel. Okay. Tell me one thing the U.S. don't have its sticky little goddamn fingers in. And since Israel and U.S. are kind of buddy anyway, and MI6 probably had something to do with it and stuff. But you know, we all sit here and you know, I'm out here. I got the field behind me and sitting in my grove, just a simple, normal American. And I'm looking at all this shit, and I'm like, okay, I'm not a stupid, simple American. I'm just somebody who likes to live the slow-paced, enjoy myself life. Out in the middle of nowhere, being a humble and poor man. But they expect me to sit there and believe. I didn't let my kids lie to me. When my kids would come to me and try to lie to me, I'd call them on it every time. I'm sorry, Trump. That's what I'm doing to you. I'm calling you on it. Let's see if we have anybody in the government. I don't care. See, I realize this list is going to bring down a lot of important and rich people, and they're going to have to find out what happens when you're held accountable for your crimes, just like we do. How fair is not releasing that list to anybody who's sitting in prison right now? To the people that are paying for their crimes. How is that fair to them? I tell you what, prison people need to start bitching. Yeah, I did the crime, I'm doing the time. Okay? But guess what? We all live in that class where we have to obey the laws. Anyway, crazy world. All I know is I'm sick of law enforcement. You know, they won't arrest the real criminals. And they want to sit there and mess with people that are obeying the law, but they have nothing else to do. Well, the county prosecutor, they won't charge them. So? Our judicial system is screwed up, okay? And why does any other judicial system at any level need to sit there and act accordingly to the law? You know, like the lady holding the scales that's blindfolded. Why do any of them else have to act like that if our cheap law enforcement agencies and the Justice Department doesn't want to do it? Explain to me why they would have to do it. We're getting screwed over, people. Can anybody see that it's not worth listening to these people? They don't deserve respect that you give the devil. And I guess there's some people out there that give the devil a lot of respect. I don't. I know he exists, but I don't give him a lot of respect. I don't give him any respect. I give him a hard freaking time. That's why I get on YouTube and drive trolls crazy. So the little devil's minions can sit there and go, Anyway, all I know is if we don't sit there and hold the chief law enforcement agents of this country accountable for their actions. I mean, and then they say we live in a free country, right? Okay. I'm sick of immigrants getting more rights to help while we have veterans in the streets suffering from post and homelessness and I know. I'm a veteran. I don't live in the street, but I live a simple, humble, poor life because I don't fit into society no more after the Marine Corps. I realize that. I've been dealing with it for over 30 years. I've learned to adjust, but I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of those sons of bitches being able to break the law. I'm done with it. Like I say, every time they break a mirror off a car, every single time they break out a windshield or a side window, how much is that costing the American taxpayer? And then you have the next car go through the gauntlet. Change tactics. You want to bring this Marine Corps NCO in? I'll solve the problem the first rate. You know, we went, I tell you what, you want to solve the homeless vet problem? I'll tell you one way to solve it. Let's get our army together, our military together, and take our country back. Now all these homeless vets all of a sudden have a job again and a purpose. Am I lying there? That is so the truth. There's no. So if any homeless vets are doing this, where you're homeless and your other vets from out there, organize. Like I say, organize. We don't have our George Washington. We ain't gonna organize from the top down this time. We're gonna have to organize from the bottom up. And then we'll create the upper tier. Okay? Because obviously, with the Monty printing and all this bullshit they're doing, see, in the first revolution, not to say the rich were hurting, but the rich were like us. They say, we ain't putting up with this shit. And the other poor, they had the leaders to follow, you know, because the leaders were on the same page. We were all colonists getting screwed over. But today, Americans can't see we're all Americans getting screwed over. Hey, we got division. You're black. Oh, I can't like you. Oh, you're rich. I can't like you. Oh, you drive this type of car. You don't. I can't like you. Or you do this in your bedroom, so I can't like you. And so they're allowed to do this shit. Anyway, yeah, maybe it's time to give the homeless vets a purpose and a job again. You know how many of them would show up at that wherever we organized, and just like boot camp, you sit there and go into your room, like in Marine Corps, you get those little yellow footprints at first, and then you get your half-hour speech, and then they go get you your haircuts, shave you if you need to be shaved, and you go in the next room and put all your clothes in a box, and you get all your military-issued stuff. Within 3 hours, those homeless vets would walk through that door. And 3 hours later, they'd walk through the door that they were coming out of on the other side of the building. And they looked like a military. And they'd be trained. Jake, that's crazy. What if why don't you have anyway. But what else? What other choice do we have? I mean, I have kids and grandkids. A grandson that's got to go to school with a litter box in his room because kids that think they're furries. I think I've endured enough. You know, all us vets have been trained to solve this problem, and we're not allowed to. And that creates anxiety. You're standing by to stand by. Anybody in the military been in that position? Standing by to stand by. Americans and vets don't want to put up with any. No. And that's why I'm out here. Share this video. I don't care if the FBI comes to my goddamn door and asks me what's going on, because the only thing I'm going to do is give them the Declaration of Independence in the Constitution and say, when you read this, you'll frickin' understand. But they could come to my door and ask me about this video, but there's no Epstein list. I didn't want to turn this into a rant. But like I say, a lot of us vets are suffering anxiety and stress from having to live in a country where we went to fight this shit that country was like. You know, Trump's not our George Washington, obviously. George Washington isn't going to come out of Washington, D.C. Hate to tell you that. It's going to become some unimportant man right now who understands the problems we have, willing to sit there and put his life and his fortune on the line. Okay, you should never have to put your family's life on the line, but you'd be right there protecting them. Whatever it takes. It's not fair It's not fair that the generations after me and the generations to come have to live in the world that they're trying to create. It's not fair. Intelligence here, I am not even doing anything. You can defend your lands in the internet, but where is this energy on your streets? It's not there. We don't have the leader. And you got just like social media, it's shutting us, silencing us. Okay, if I went out to my town and did the old-fashioned town crier, like back in the colonial days, I'd probably get arrested. They don't want us to organize. They don't want, all you got to do is keep sharing. Eventually, it will get big enough. Grow your fire teams, then grow to your squads, and then get your platoon together, okay? Get your leaders, and then grow up to a battalion. And then when we got all these militias going on and organizing, then the leaders of we can come together. Just like they did in the Revolutionary War. We didn't have a military. Each state had its own military that would come together and bring troops for this same cause. Trump dodged the draft 5 times. You're dealing with somebody, you saw Trump on TV in 1980s, okay? And I always wondered, why would he want to, and I thought he was an arrogant, conceited fuck then. And this is what happens when an arrogant, conceited fuck from the 80s becomes the best politician the United States can vote for in 2024. I don't know. Do you think the country's fallen a little bit? Yeah, plenty of states, we got more Republican governors than we do Democrats. But do you think a Republican governor is going to get out and make a video like this? I mean, we have Democrats, congressmen and stuff saying that it's time to die for the cause. These Republican governors, they're all pussies. See, this is the one thing. I'm starting to get a little excited. I'm an alpha. I'm a Sigma male. That's even above an alpha, okay? And we got beta males in charge of us, okay? And an alpha male knows too. We ain't gonna let a beta male be in charge of us. I'm sick of it. Governor Newsom, what a piece of shit. Steals from his citizens and gives it to non-citizens. How the hell is he still in office? Well, come out to the sticks. Woods works in the hills and everything will run. I tell you what, I isolate myself. I haven't fit into society for 30 years after I got out of the Marine Corps. And I'm sick of trying. I'm sick of supposed to accept all this shit. Here I can sit there like today. I got too pissed. I had to make a video this morning. Don't usually do a video in the morning. But then after this, I can come out, work my ass off, sweat my ass off all day and get it out of my system. I'd rather sit there and get it out of my system a different way. But like I say, it's a pretty good idea, huh? We could put all the homeless vets back to work with a purpose. Fighting the enemies of our country. Boy, wouldn't the government start flipping out if that happened? And like I say, 3 hours from them getting to the base, from going to that door, getting their haircuts and shaves, getting their military uniforms and stuff, coming out that other door a couple hours later, and it's going to look like a well-polished military. You know why? Because it would be. And the thing about all these homeless vets, they're even tougher now than they were when they were in. They just need a purpose. A lot of vets are homeless because they don't fit in. Whether they choose to live that way or whatever. You know, I just happened to be in a I do a lot of traveling myself, but I work when I travel. I go to work in the far out places where there aren't no people, no roads, no telephone poles, no nothing. To deal with, being in a big city, my hat's off to you. If you're a constitutional conservative and you live in a big city, and you're dealing with the crime, you're dealing with the crazies. Like, say, I wouldn't be afraid of the thug that's got a gun because he's going to go rob a store. I'm talking about walking down the street and seeing the crazy sons of bitches that might want to throw gasoline on me and light me on fire or hit me with a syringe they got some shit in or something like that. Those crazies. See them on YouTube all the time. People have lost their minds. Hey, Amanda, good to see you. Yeah, I came on this morning. I had a little upset about stuff I saw. Like I say, I'm so sick of these illegal immigrants. Change tactics, ICE. Change tactics. That's what you do when you're getting your stupid ass kicked. Or you can't defend yourself because you refuse to. Change tactics. Surround them. You only have to deal with it once. Too close to New York City. Tired of this area. We can't wait to move. I know you guys pay a fortune to live out there. You can buy a house where I live for half the price of a new car in town. Yeah, you may have to do some repairs to it, but let's say you buy a house for $40,000, $45,000, and you put $25,000 into it. Yeah, you don't get paid as much as your jobs here, but the cost of living's cheaper. You don't, I mean, you're dealing with counties that have less, that have less than 2,000 people in them. Some of them where I go work at have less than 1,000 in counties that are huge. You know, one person per every 20 or 30 square miles. And these people, they always say, well, one day you'll have to worry about these people when they come migrating out. They ain't going to come migrate out here. For one thing, there's no place for them to live. And you've got to be self-sufficient. And everybody here understands protection, okay? You go try to steal from them, and it's anarchy, you're going to die. You know, I always say the best layer of security is distance. Distance from the stupid shit. That's your first layer. But there's lots of room out here for good people. And, you know, all the people from idiot people are going up to Washington State and just ruining that, and Denver, and that's, 4 hours away, ruining that. But like I say, those people wouldn't survive. It just, they'd start walking down the roads and they'd realize they were in the wrong place. Okay. We don't have no Starbucks here. So anyway, but, that's all I'm ranting today. I appreciate everybody being here. Like I say, this channel will never ask for money, sell anything, or donations. But if you like to support the channel, hit the thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell notification. And that'll help with the analytics and help the channel grow. And, get the word out. Share. Talk to your neighbors. See where they sit on this. Okay? Free Europe and U.S. and abolish communism. Oh, just get rid of evil. But see, this is a sorry thing, and it's the truth too. The fact of life you have to deal with. To have good, you have to have evil. It's just evil has to be under control. Okay, and everybody, when we grew up in this country back in the 70s and 80s and 60s, we all know that communism was bad. Okay, we knew why it was bad. There was movies on it, hundreds of movies on why it was bad. And now we just turned into that country. See, I want to be free again. I keep telling people, I had an argument with somebody. Well, tell me what you said. You don't think you're free? Tell me what you're not. Tell me what you can't, what you're not free to do today. And I said, compared to today or 1718 when they first ratified the Constitution, which freedom are you talking about? Because the freedom I'm talking about is 1789. I would say we might have lost a little bit of freedom since then. Anyway, but like I say, my video last night was on my prepping channel was dealing with clueless preppers. And the thing is, these people, I mean, I'm talking to somebody and they're thinking that the euro, trying to have a discussion about economics, and they're thinking the euro is a world reserve currency. Okay. How am I supposed to have an intelligent conversation about economics and how the world's tied economically together when you got to deal with that? Look it up on Google. I know you're wrong. I said, I know I'm right. I'm not even going to talk about it. Anyway, but everybody have a great day. I'm going to go to work. And tonight we had rain last night. So if you want to come back tonight, I'm going to hold my live stream a little later, about 8:30. And we're going to have it out here in my grove and have a little bit of fireside chat, you might say. And we'll push the camera off to the west. Right behind me, 10 miles, is the silos where these things go shooting out of them and go over to other countries and cause a big explosion. So, and sometimes at night you get to see interesting things in the sky. So anyway, hey, I'll see you there, Guardian. So we're going to have a sit-down fireside chat. I can't play any music because if I do, YouTube hits me with a copyright strike. So anyway, like I say, another thing where I better make sure I obey every law. So anyway, everybody have a great day. I'm going to get busy and get rid of some of this weeds in my grove. Anyway, everybody have a great day and enjoy yourself. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.